Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel, where in today's video I'm going to be taking a look at a lineup of two vehicles that I generally find very enjoyable right now in ground realistic games, this being the Leopard 2K and the Bo105 CB-2. Now, these two vehicles I do enjoy very much. If you watch my live streams, you'll know that the Bo105 is a helicopter that I massively enjoy, but nonetheless, getting into these two vehicles, I'm going to go over some basic stats. The Leopard 2K, a German Tier 6 main battle tank with a BR of 9.7 in realistic. This does mount the very powerful Rheinmetall L44 gun, a 120mm cannon, as well as a 20mm cannon mounted on the turret, and it also has a coaxially mounted 7.62mm machine gun. Now, the armor on this tank, it is fairly well known the armor isn't the best, but it is very nicely angled, which does mean that you can actually ricochet many of the shots that will come in at you, so generally the armor isn't exactly a problem. Now, the other vehicle, of course, the Bo105 CB-2. This vehicle is a German Tier 5 premium helicopter, and it is essentially a copy and paste of the other two Bo105 helis in the tech tree, only with a few small changes like the camouflage, but there is one major change, which is that this mounts the tow ATGM. Now, the two tech tree versions of the Bo105 only mount the hot ATGM, and I believe they only have 6 of them. This has 8 tows. The tow missile, I'm not so sure on explosive sort of capacity or penetration of the missile, but generally they do go a lot faster, which certainly makes it a lot easier to shoot ground vehicles that are at further distances, or even enemy helicopters, and in rare cases, enemy aircraft. Now, of course, it is all good and well having ATGMs, but unfortunately, this vehicle doesn't have any other secondary armaments. All it has is the ATGMs. No guns, not even flares or anything, you just have the ATGMs. Now, of course, this helicopter does have other things that go in its favour. Now, some of those things would be the top speed of the heli. This thing can reach well over 200 miles an hour in more or less a straight line. Its actual stat card speed is less, but it can reach pretty decent speed in a straight line. Also, the agility, a very agile helicopter, so definitely an advantage there. And also, it's fairly small, which does actually help when you're trying to play it sneaky-breaky and try and not be spotted. Generally, having a slightly smaller helicopter does help with being less visible at longer ranges. Anyway, though, now that I have gone through sort of a basic sort of chat about what makes these vehicles sort of what they are, let's go and get into some gameplay and see how they actually perform in ground realistic battles. So, starting off with a game on Stalingrad, first kill is on a Type 90 Japanese MBT. I'm able to hit the right place on the gun mantlet, it goes through, knocks out the turret crew, giving me my first kill of the game. Second kill of the game was actually on an MBT-70, a tank that is more or less obsolete at this point in my opinion. He's being sneaky-breaky behind those railway cars. I'm able to see where he is, fire a shot in, hit the turret, and knock out 2 of his 3 crew members, giving me my second kill. I am unfortunately pinned down and destroyed by an enemy M1 Abrams. So I spawn up into the Bo105, and now's time for some fun. So I start off by slowing down the helicopter so I can stay just out of enemy tank ATGM range, and at this point in the game I've already hit one enemy tank who is on fire, and I actually do get the kill for him, as you just saw. Now I have another ATGM going in. I don't get a kill with this ATGM, but I am able to get a critical hit on an enemy tank, of which, as you can see, I've just done. So there we go, that is an M1 Abrams who now has some critical damage to his driver and various other components. Another ATGM fired off, there is an enemy tank there, and, you know, it's going in, hits him on the side, and, well, that's going to do some critical damage, isn't it? So, you know, there we go. That is the second kill with the ATGMs. So, you know, I stay in this position. This thing is 8 ATGMs. So, you know, 8 tows. They're going to last a fair while. They tend to kill on the first hit. If not, a second hit is all it really needs. And as you can see, there we go, another enemy tank. And that is 3 kills with the ATGMs in that game. Moving on to the next game, on a map I don't really enjoy so much. So I start off by going for the B point. That's the place with the best sort of cover. It was here where I had a rather long engagement with a Soviet tank. He kept moving forward and shooting me. I had my gun out, my driver out. I couldn't move, I couldn't shoot. Eventually, he was actually killed by a friendly and I got an assist. Although I was later killed by an XM1 who, you know, I fired out, I criticaled, but unfortunately he got the better of me and was able to kill me. But not to worry, that allowed me to get back into the Bo105, where, you know, in this game especially, the real fun did begin. So I start off by firing an ATGM, it's going along, and there we go. First kill in the Bo105 this game. Yet another one coming up. The ATGM is inbound, going for an enemy tank, and there we go, that is another kill. Now I'm waiting again, the ATGM is still going in, again on another target, and another kill. There we go. So that was a Russian tank there, Russians and Americans with the enemy team, so, you know, this was rather interesting, quite a fun game, and as you can see, ATGM going in again for another kill, and there we go now. So that's another kill. Now what I was doing this game was basically just hovering above the helicopter spawn, shooting the ATGMs, landing when I was out, taking off again, and doing it all again. Now eventually I was killed, but the funny thing was, the ATGM that I was firing at a T-80 kept going. I had 5 kills, and then, on a moment's notice, I had 6 kills. So there we go, 6 kills alone in that game with the Bo105. So with that, we move into the next game. This time, moving in first off on an M1, hit the back of the turret. M1 Abrams, XM1, you hit the back of the turret, it will kill them. But anyway, in the game, I continue to move along, and what do I see as I'm moving along? Ooh, there's a little enemy tank just over this ridge over there on the other side of the central point. So I fire a shot, and there you go, it was an M1 Abrams, sort of through the corner of the lower frontal plate, and it went in, blew up a fuel tank, killed a load of crew members, and as you can see, weak armor, but it's angled very well. An M1 Abrams shot just ricocheted off, and as you can see, I hit in between the sort of chassis and the turret, and that knocked out his whole turret crew. Second shot into the lower frontal plate, knocked out the driver, giving me my third kill of the game. Unfortunately, that was my final kill of the game. I continued to move along, and unfortunately I did then come into contact with a Chieftain Mark 10, who isn't quite as good as the Leo 2K, but he knew what he was doing, and he was able to knock out my gun, and unfortunately kill me before I could kill him. And as you can see, a ricochet, his armor is fairly thick and well angled, so he did get the better of me there. But not to worry, jumped over into the Bo105, and it's time to fix my mistake of hitting the wrong part of his tank. And that I did. If you look at the A point, you will see there's something on fire. That is the Chieftain Mark 10, and I'm about to get the kill for him, as you can see, just killed something at the point. He's down there on A, and as the ATGM is going, my second ATGM on him is going towards him, I get the kill anyway, so, you know, that ATGM ended up being wasted. But nonetheless, the final ATGM I fire knocks out a Sergeant York, and that is sort of the end of the game for me. We lost the game, but still 6 kills overall. Certainly a result I am happy with. Anyway though, next game on Vietnam. The only kill I get this game in the Leo 2K is knocking out this Type 90, who shot at me, missed, and, you know, I knocked out his gunner, and then I knocked out the rest of the crew. Unfortunately, there was another Type 90 up on the hills on the other side of the map who was able to camp and knock my crew out. And as soon as I jumped into the Bo105, I was straight into the action. I started off by dogfighting a P-61 sort of heavy fighter, and I actually used an ATGM to destroy his aircraft, which gave me my first kill in the Bo105, sort of proving the point that you can actually survive fairly well and defend yourself against aircraft. Anyway, there's a Type 90 up on the hill. He is the one who killed me. First shot, I don't kill him, but I knock out the engine, and I set him on fire. Second shot, top of the turret, knocks out the crew, not a problem. That is a perfect revenge kill in my books. And then the final kill of this game was on a Type 87. So there we go. After that, I was then killed by an F-86 Sabre, but nonetheless, that was a pretty decent game. Now, this next clip is not exactly a full game. It is more or less a short clip from a game on Fulda, in which I was facing 2 XM1s by myself in the Leo 2K. So the first one comes along, I hit the point just below the turret and knock out all means of him shooting or aiming at me, at least temporarily. The second one crits out my engine, but then I fire another shot into him and, you know, I knock out the breech and also the turret ring. So neither of them can shoot me, and now it's just sort of a case of knocking them out. He's trying to get away, I kill him first. Second one, you know, I fire a shot in, and it doesn't actually knock him out on the first shot. Usually with XM1s or Abrams, if you're facing them frontally, always go for the gap in between the turret and the chassis, basically where the turret ring is. That is a weak spot, always go for that. Anyway though, this next game, I get down into this tunnel, another Leo 2K hits me, I'm fired at, and yet again, it ricochets from an Abrams. I hit the lower frontal plate, and that gives me my first kill of the game. After capping the point, I then move off, and unfortunately, I'm going along, and I see two enemy tanks on a hill, fire a shot off at one of them, and, you know, I'm then set on fire from behind me, and unfortunately, I can't actually see any tank that did it. Now, I never saw that tank again. Whoever shot at me, they didn't appear, and I was actually killed by a Huey, the XM30, the premium variant. I then jumped over into the Bo105, and I grabbed my first kill on an Abrams, and, you know, pretty decent there. There was another enemy tank moving along, so I nabbed another kill on him. I think he tried firing at my ATGM, but, you know, it didn't really do anything. That was another M1 Abrams kill for me, and then I encountered an FJ4B. He flew straight past me without even shooting at me. I fired an ATGM, the first one missed, but then the second one, yeah, obviously an ATGM hitting a jet does a lot of damage, and, you know, there we go, that was a kill on an FJ4B. You saw at the beginning of the video, I got a kill on an F84, so, you know, this thing can definitely kill jets fairly effectively. And as you can see, I just knocked out an SPAA boy, and now I'm going in for a kill on, you know, another enemy MBT. So hit that, get me another kill, and, you know, the game then ends. Unfortunately, I'm not able to get another one, but nonetheless, a decent amount of kills for that game, shot down a jet with a heli, certainly no small feat, although having the missile be a guided missile does certainly help. Anyway, into this game. This was actually a very good game that I was incredibly happy with. So it started off by me knocking out a T-72A, a fairly recent addition for the Russians in their sort of tier 6 MBT department. Next up, I came across a pair of XM1s. For the first one, I went for that frontal turret shot trap, and I was able to knock out the crew, which was definitely something I was fairly happy with. For the second one, I went for yet another weakness on the XM1 and the Abrams. That is the rear of the turret. You hit the rear of the turret, it'll generally go through, fragment, and knock out the crew, in which, of course, this time it did. The next kill was sort of just a case of right place, right time. He came along, I saw him, fired, and luckily I hit just the right point to knock out the turret crew members, giving me another kill. Next up, poor little automatic was set on fire. I reverse up, Russian tank, upper frontal plate, not a problem, straight through, knocking out the crew, giving me yet another kill. Next one was on a BMP2, hit the BMP2, and, you know, again, I knocked out the turret crew, which gave me another kill. T-55AM, didn't get a kill here. Unfortunately, I got a few hits on him. Then I ricocheted my sort of final attempt, giving me an assist. And there's another BMP2 just spawned in. At this point in the game, we had capped all the bases. Only a few of them were left. There wasn't really anywhere else to go, so we ended up going to the spawn. Here is how that 20mm can come in handy. You know, knocking out a few people in a lightly armoured vehicle. I did get an assist, but nonetheless, it did sort of save me a bit there as he was attacking me. I dropped some smoke, and there's an Object 120 who, you know, he didn't really see me, so, you know, fired off some shots, made sure he was out of the spawn protection, fired another shot in, giving me another kill. Moving along, here is the final kill I got this game. American boy with some ERA, fired a shot through, hit the turret, and that was my 9th kill of this game. And there we go, 9 kills, 1 base cap, and 2 assists, and first place in the team. So certainly a game I was incredibly proud of. If you are wondering why the sound was turned off for that game, it is because the game was done on stream, so that is stream footage, and if I had the sound on, you would hear music, me talking from the stream, so I thought it best just to turn the sound off. Anyway though, that was a look at basically my favourite sort of high tier lineup right now, that being the Leo 2K and the Bo105 CB-2. Leo 2K, very enjoyable tank in Tank RB, fairly mobile, good gun. The 20mm can be incredibly useful against lightly armoured vehicles, definitely a tank I would advise trying, and in the process of making this video I actually finished spading my 2K, so definitely something I'm fairly happy with. The Bo105 CB-2, 8-tow missiles. Brilliant for tank realistic, very good for helicopter enjoying confrontation, despite having no guns. As long as you keep your distance and use the ATGMs to their sort of maximum efficiency, you can kill helicopters very well, and as you can see from this video, you can also kill aircraft. So nonetheless, very good lineup, 2 vehicles I love. Bo105 CB-2 is, in my opinion, the best premium heli in the game right now. Anyway though, thank you very much for watching the video. If you did enjoy, please consider smashing the like button, maybe even subscribe to the channel. If you do, that would be massively appreciated. Thank you again for watching, and I will see you in the next one.